what I've discovered over the years is whenever I'm sitting with someone who I'm concerned about and asking questions in counseling, I usually avoid the word itself, suicide, because that can be a very triggering word that clams somebody up.
Yeah.
I'll ask a question like, have you been thinking about death or dying? But before I even ask that, I'll normalize it. I'll say, when someone's hurting or in pain or just really struggling, sometimes thoughts of not being here or dying pop in as like a coping mechanism. And I'm wondering if you're having those thoughts, because it really helps. It allows them to say yes. It gives them space to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
If you were to ask something like, you're not thinking about suicide, are you? It's like, there's a tone in the question that's shaming and telling, like saying, please don't say yes, because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If you were to say yes.
100% agree. It's I ask the same way. It's first normalize it and understand that many people have these thoughts, and many people have had that thought fleeting come in and out of their mind. And then, do you occasionally think about harming yourself? Does that thought sometimes feel relieving to you? And if you put off that air of, oh my gosh, please don't say yes, I'm going to freak out, especially when you're talking to a child, they're not going to tell you. They're very perceptive and they don't want you to freak out. And I've had many children say to me, I want to tell you something, but I'm afraid you're going to freak out. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed in me. And so I've learned from that, to really be careful in the way that I speak about it and the way that I ask the question, because, what's most important is that you build a rapport of trust, or you're not going to get any information that could be helpful.
Absolutely. And to go along with that, because I don't want you to be disappointed with me, of when someone tells me that, like, yeah, I have been thinking this way, and maybe I'll lean into a little bit and ask like what it sounds like, and they tell me, I will celebrate it with them. You told me something so big.
Really
Thank
hard.
you for bringing me in. I'm so grateful I get to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm highlighting that it's amazing that they said it, because it's kind of honoring how hard it is to say.
Yeah.
And like, now I can walk alongside you with this. And what I really hope for is I can support you through this, because you matter. I care about you. And so let's talk about how we can make sure you stay safe.
Yeah.
So that's how I shifted of like, we're going to start talking about like a plan to keep you safe, but it's because I care so much about you and you matter. So it's not like this, I got to check this thing off my list kind of a feeling. It's, you matter so much that we're going to slow everything down, focus on this, because this is huge that you told me. I also like to use a scale with clients, like to kind of help to normalize it of, when people have these kinds of thoughts, it's kind of a scale of one extreme to the other. The less severe extreme is, if I were to die, who would care, or who would come to my funeral? I mean, they're thinking about death. They're not actually considering suicide yet, but they're thinking about their own death. And they're really kind of assessing their support system. That's one side. And the other side is, I'm going to die. I'm going to commit suicide tomorrow, and this is how, and you can't stop me. I mean, that's obviously the opposite extreme situation. And then there's everyone in the middle of just having ruminating thoughts, having real suicidal thoughts, but being scared of them and being nervous that they're having them, to having a plan, but not being sure if they want to do it. I mean, there's all sorts of scale. And so sharing with someone that scale helps me help them to identify where they are and the level of risk they are. Treating this like a conversation. This isn't one question. Getting to know why they're thinking this way, how long they've been thinking this way, what the thoughts sound like when they happen, are really helpful in knowing where they really are.
Yeah. And if you're a parent or a teacher or someone in the community asking these questions, and you're not a therapist like we are, you may not know how to approach it in that way. But I think one thing that's really important to remember is to validate the feeling, validate the emotion, because it might catch you off guard a little bit. It might be a little surprising to you when someone, a child or a teenager, says to you, yeah, I'm thinking about killing myself. If you're not trained, like we've been trained, it could definitely throw you for a loop. And I mean, I know it's not even always comfortable for me. So if you're a parent and your child is talking to you about that, it's hard to have that blank face. It's hard to kind of not react because you're feeling such intense emotions about it. But it's important to remember to validate the feelings, validate the emotions, instead of saying something like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that, or I can't believe you feel that way. Why would you ever want to kill yourself? Like, why would you even think about that? That can be very invalidating. And so to validate their feeling and to say things like, wow, like you said, I really appreciate you sharing that with me. That must have been really hard for you. Or you must really feel a lot of pain in order to think that or to feel that way, and to validate the emotion and move towards them instead of away from them.
Yeah, kind of an invitation. You must be carrying a lot of pain to think that, tell me more about the pain.
Yeah.
Help me understand what you've been going through. How long have you been carrying it?
Yeah.
These are like ways to lean in and keep the conversation going. And they're getting messages through every question you ask of, I care and I want to understand and I want to learn more, so that they don't feel like no one gets my pain. No one hears and sees my pain. Now someone does.